Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Finally, senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. And remember, no matter who you are valid. And being a bigot is a terrible, terrible character flaw. Again, there are worse character flaws to have, but point being, it's a character flaw. Anyway, though, I hope that your day is going well. It is gray and cloudy here. I have been outside for a very short period. It's going to be warm light in that it's going to be warm. And I don't do well in heat. So I've got my AC unit off right now so that people can hear me. But when I am fully going, I think my box fan is on low instead of off over near the window. And then this box fan is definitely on low. And then, of course, I turn both of those on high and the AC unit. So thumbs up on that. Hopefully your day is going well. I have things written down over on a text file thing because I can't remember stuff. ADHD brain sucks. But there you go. So I'm going to be glancing over this way to read stuff. And one of the things that really quick that I wanted to say again, it's basically a thank you sort of thing, is thank you each and everybody that watches these videos. I have a very tiny audience. I know this. And I certainly don't make money. I mean, I get paid like once a year if I'm lucky. So I don't do this for money, and I certainly don't do it to try and influence people. I went and, not started. I had started my channel because one of my children had been watching a Let's Play, so I wanted to try it. I did it for 12, I think, episodes, and then my satisfaction was full. I didn't care anymore. But then after my wife died, I needed something to get me out of my head because my support network went bam and vanished. As soon as my wife died, everybody stopped talking to me. I was alone, and that is the very worst thing that can happen to somebody. Now I can't remember where I was going with all that. Again, ADHD brain, I think it was because I've written stuff down over here. I wish I could remember. ADHD brain sucks. But I'm going to talk about this now because I cannot remember literally what I was talking about. I was watching a video about the game Judge Dredd vs. Death. Now, I have read I haven't read it since like the year 2000, but from 1982 to the year 2000 I read sporadically the weekly comic magazine 2000 AD from Britain, starting back when I was in the Air Force, and then finding out that my local comic shop could get it, and so continuing to get it. I had a stack of these things that were like this thick, and they were individually about this thick, so weekly they were big, and they've done a lot of things about them, board games, and one of them, not board game, one of them is the computer game Judge Dredd vs. Death. And because there's 4 apocalyptic judges from a dimension where they judge that only the living commit crimes, therefore being alive is a crime. And they ended the lives of everyone that lived in their dimension, and they keep trying to break through to do the same thing over here. So you're fighting against one of them, at least one of them, Judge Death. And it's found out that the guy who voices the character in the games had for like 10 or 15 years, or maybe even longer than that, had been the voice of Judge Dredd. So that was pretty cool. Definitely a thumbs up on that. But one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it is somebody in a video going through and all that mentioned that it had come out on the GameCube. Now, I got a GameCube. I'm not going to be able to afford to buy the game, though. However, there is a dolphin that swims in the sea of the internet. And if you download this dolphin to your computer, and then you find an ISO, perhaps, of a particular game, you can run that. And so I had to unplug this because I don't want to stress any of the stuff inside by having the cord like pull up this way. But this is my controller. I remapped this to a GameCube controller, and I was playing Judge Dredd vs. Death on the GameCube on my PC. I've played the Steam version and the PC version, and you know what? I actually kind of prefer the GameCube version. So, thumbs up for that. Like I said, I've got the machines, so the only thing that stops me from doing a lot of stuff is just flat, plain price. Retro gaming, like all things, has basically priced me out of it. So, thumbs up for that. But I just wanted to mention that I've got it up there, I do have it on Steam, so I have the PC version. But preferring to play it emulated, which is more difficult, and is thus the far more superior way to do it. If it were easy, why bother? So thumbs up for that. And I play in a silly game of Marco and Polo where I yell Marco into the internet void to see if anyone will call back Polo. Because calling out into the void and getting no response back is kind of rough sometimes. I'm not begging for anything, don't worry about that, I'm just mentioning. But there were these people that play my game, and I thank you for that, because number one, it is nice to know that there are people out there in the void, and number two, I remember what I was talking about earlier, but I've forgotten again already, and boy, ADHD brain. And number two, blatant engagement farming. There we go. We have Jesse Koskinen, who played the game. Thumbs up and thank you. Greatly appreciated. From the warm and tropical land of Finland. With all those palm trees and the jungles of the icy north. Icy-ish, north-ish. Just being silly. Then there's Potatotron23. Thumbs up, thank you. Always good to see you in the comments. There is no way to pronounce this one. It is LOZLTTP. Thumbs up and thank you. Gus Garrett 6838. Good to see you. Thumbs up. Jason Cunningham 4315. I talk to him periodically on Facebook. He's an interesting fellow. So thumbs up on that. Has had a not all that wonderful life. Not all that wonderful of a life. God, I can English, I promise you. So good thing he's still hanging in there. Thumbs up. There is KYUN Hyunkun 3584. Thumbs up and thank you. Calicoy, greatly appreciated. I would be interested if that was really just a koi that has like patterns of kale upon it. Who knows? But thank you very much for playing. There is I copied and pasted the name onto the list and I didn't even realize it is Kaiser Soza 9922. I haven't even seen the movie that character is from, and I recognize and laugh at the reference. So thumbs up and thank you. We have Root Beard 1990. Thumbs up and thank you. Larry from Space 1856. Now we're in the point that I'm not sure if this is from the previous time played or from this time, but either way, Larry from Space 1856 has left plenty of comments, so even if you didn't do it this time, thank you very much. So greatly appreciated each person that did that. In a tiny bit, I'm going to be giving out the new secret word. But I wanted to mention, last night, I realized I really have to start working on breaking my dependence on melatonin. Not breaking, but lowering. Because these are 5 milligram tablets. 10 milligrams per serving. It's not going to focus on that. My apologies. I took 30 milligrams of melatonin at 11:30. I went to bed at 1 o'clock. Not because I was tired, but because it was 1 o'clock. So when the light finally turned off, it was 1:30. And I wasn't feeling anything. That's not good. But then I already know my tolerance for everything is sky high. I used to be on so many medications it isn't even funny. So that blasted my tolerance for, as stated, anything. But I also wanted to talk about things that aren't that. Like, I have these, and I've shown these before. They're not really a game you play. They're things you use when you're playing a game. They are bad things. Now, here's where it gets a little odd, because you notice it says there are 30 meeples in here. And there are 16 unique characters. But these 8 are the ones that they include. So what do they mean 16 unique characters when you only have variations of these 8? I don't understand that. But you open it up and it's got a nice little text thing here that's, you know, it's basically them advertising their product. You know, a horde of vicious monsters has descended upon the land. Shambling zombies, rampaging orcs, foul demons, and just all that. Just use these meeples to fill your world with beasties big and small. And so, and again, they say these 16 unique designs, while only advertising 8 of them. And they're all stored in their little containers. But they're little plastic meeples with print on them. This is the bag of big ones. You can't see what they look like mostly, but these are the big ones, bad guys and such. But it's interesting enough. I just wanted to show off that, not show off as in be, hey, look at these things, but show off as in, hey, look at that, this is cool. Because they are. I think they're cool. Are they anything to brag about? I'd say no. But, you know, I'd like to show them to people because I think they're interesting. I have showed them before. Now, over here, one of these games I know I have shown that I have, Resist. It's based on the Spanish Civil War. And I know I've shown this one. I haven't played it, but I can English. And I don't know if I showed this one. This one, it's a tower defense game. Literally. You have bad guys that are moving toward the thing at the middle, and you've got your 4 heroes. I think it's 4 heroes. And, you can have up to. And you're defending the tower, basically. So it's interesting that way. Another one, again, I have not played. I find enough enjoyment in owning and opening them up and playing with the pieces and enjoying them that way just as much as I enjoy breaking them out and playing them. In fact, sometimes more, because some of these have so many fiddly bits that I, with my ADHD brain and my other physical conditions, usually by the time I get to the point where mentally I can play one of these games, physically I've run out of spoons. All my dials have gone from 70% full down to 10 or 15, and I got to ration that last 15% for the rest of the day. So just the fiddly bits alone, I just go, I don't have the energy to do this. So yeah, a lot of them, like Rune Masters and all that, I get enjoyment from owning, from being able to pick it up, from opening up the box. It takes forever to open up some boxes, and playing with the pieces. Enjoying these things in this fashion, in a tactile fashion. Try to run these so you can see the different ones. I'm having difficulties just being a person here. So I just wanted to show off the stuff again and just to explain. Now I'm going to talk really quick about some solo RPG / inside outside Razor's Edge thing, and I've got this written down in such a way that I can't take myself serious, and I am very, very, I've forgotten the word, but I am self-deprecating. So I've got this written down in this way. You can tell when someone hits a weird point in their media. I realized something about a guy, and didn't fully realize it, but when you watch someone, you can tell when they hit that weird point. Like this one person I watch who doesn't do it now, but for a while he would say, "Can I get a piss in chat?" And then it was just, he would, for every video, it would be like, "Wonderful piss." And after a while I went, you know, maybe it's a bit, and maybe it's not a bit. They take it far enough that it's hit that kind of a weird point. As I say, you suddenly realize, that's not just a bit. That's got more than a hint of the real in it. So that said, now I'm going to talk about something where, hey, did this guy just hit that weird point talking about this? Because this is something that I feel would occur on both the Razor's Edge and in Karthkog, both my fiction setting and my solo RPG setting. The solo RPG setting, where there's the continent of Lanlua, Stelden, and Karthkog, where the Hulat are here, where the Dwaylen and the Goya, which is basically goblinoid races, elves and humans, and everyone pretty much gets along. Pretty much. There's still murder and theft and other bad things that can occur, because there are still, even though they're quote-unquote fantasy races, they still are humanoid and based on, hey, things that we know. So, that also said, one of the things I figure, since they do not have the same hang-ups that we do, but because they developed differently under different physical pressures, under different social pressures, under different economic pressures, all these things, their real lives are not like what I would talk about. It's different. This is all metaphor to make it all understandable. Do they all act like, that's, oh, they're this and this and this? No, of course not. It's metaphor. But still, that said too, because they do not have our hang-ups, and I'm not really interested in this point at examining what hang-ups they do have, because they got hang-ups that we wouldn't even think about, like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you weren't supposed to bring a green cloak into the living room. God, I'm sorry. Oh, God. So they have hang-ups that we don't have, but I'm not really interested in those at this point. One of the ways that I figure to show in this world among the people of Carthage, since they went from a land of, well, that was going to make them extinct if they couldn't escape from it, but it was very harsh, extremely so. Like the Siberian steppes would be like a vast and wonderful place to live, going, oh my God, the riches here. So they came from a very bad place, and they're coming to the main body of the continent of Carthage about 12 to 1500 years ago. It took time to make the full excursion. I can't remember what the exodus. I figure to show safety, that you feel safe, that you feel comfortable, since they are very comfortable and don't have our hang-ups. One of the ways to show that is, yeah, they have public and private nudity. If you feel safe and comfortable, you show this by stripping down. And your host will also expect you to do so. Because if you don't, if you go to somebody's house where you're trying to influence them, and everybody else is stripped down to show that they are feeling safe and comfortable, and you don't, to show that you don't feel safe, that is an insult. Even the Orkani, pretty much stoic and stick up their backsides, no sense of humor types, they'll get ready to throw hands. But at the same time, bodies have oils and sweats and all sorts of other types of fluids and excretions that can occur. And you don't want someone just planting their bare backside on this newly upholstered bear pelt sofa. So I figure, as a social thing, what I call a comfort cloth, but they would certainly call something else, like with one word, most likely, maybe two. But it's effectively, you wear a belt around your waist, and it's a thick towel that hangs from your waist to your knees on the back side of you. So when you sit down, you're not planting your bare backside on their fine furniture, but you're still stripped down, as society would say you should do. Now, if you feel safe but not comfortable, you may partial strip. If you feel comfortable but not safe, you might be wearing just sandals, your weapons belt, and maybe a midriff-bearing fishnet top. And that's it. But I figure socially that's one of the things that would happen, to show that you feel safe and comfortable, since they don't have the hang-ups we have. They don't have the religious basis for a lot of the hang-ups that we have. They don't have our religions. So Now, does that make any difference to any of the stuff that I'm thinking about where there's they're doing this or moving around? No, this is just background stuff. Is it important? Not in the slightest. It's just something that I am exploring for a short while to see what effects this would have on society. And then once I've mined this little bit of resource, then it's on to the next thing. But since I have bad ADHD brain, I'm going to be leaping on to something else and then leaving that behind to come back to later. It's been something I've been thinking about for quite some time, but because it's all in such small chunks here and there, it's never in my head until right now to go, hey, you know, there's that weird point in someone's media when you can say, huh, you know, that's not just a bit. Thing is, though, for me, while I think in fiction being casual enough for things like public nudity is fine, it's not really something I would do nor want really to happen. I don't live on a world where that's really a thing to do. So, is it a thing for me? Maybe. In my subconscious? Hard to say. And if you have watched this far through me talking about all of these naked goblin type races, if you could type the word Rune Masters into the comments for two reasons, of course. Number one, to show both me and the YouTube algorithms that people watch the videos, which is very, very nice. But of course, part and parcel of that is the blatant engagement farming, since if you do leave that comment in the word in the comments, yeah, it does show YouTube that people do watch. And it's a tiny, tiny, tiny audience. But you are there. And I appreciate that so very, very much. Thank you. I am going to edit, render, upload. I'm going to play games. I'm going to look at products and go, gosh, I wish I could buy that. And one of the reasons I never window shop, I get sick with jealousy. I don't look at things that I can't get, because that is just going to make me feel terrible. And I try to be at least a little bit nice to myself. So I'm going to try and do that. Then, of course, go for walkies. I went for a longer walk last night. I need to figure out a good path for the longest walk. I usually head this way when I head out for walkies. I need to go this way because there's a big direction that it goes on this main road, and I haven't walked it yet. Hopefully you can get done the things that you would like to get done. That would be very, very cool. Definitely a thumbs up. And of course, if you do not, please do not beat yourself up. That will not help you get it done better next time. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side. And that is indeed a very, very good thing. Yeah, almost a half hour. So if you've watched this far, really just this old man yammering on, saying basically nothing, thank you so much. It really is appreciated. You are a good people.